All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating concept from Kelvin W. Nathan's book, Build the System. We all do it, right? We set these massive outcome-based goals like, losing 20 pounds or maybe doubling our income. But honestly, how often do we actually hit those targets without just completely burning out along the way? The reality is obsessing over the finish line can actually keep us from crossing it. So instead of stressing over these destination-focused goals, we're going to look at how we can shift to building effortless, process-based systems. It's a real game changer. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our mental roadmap for the Explainer today. First, we'll look at goals versus systems. Second, the psychology of habits. Third, designing your daily scaffold. And fourth, the power of micro-wins. We'll have a complete toolkit by the time we finish up. Right, so Section 1, Goals versus Systems, the paradigm shift. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact difference between the two. Think about what happens when we set a massive long-term goal. Day 1, you get this huge burst of motivation, right? But by day 14, you're completely exhausted and you just want to quit. That's because goals are binary. You literally either win or you lose. If your goal is to get a 90% on an exam and you get an 85%, you feel like a total failure. You get demotivated. But a system, that's the actual sustainable path you walk every single day. If your system is just to study with intense focus for 3 hours a day, hey, that 85% is a massive win because you proved you can be consistent. A goal gives you a temporary, fleeting spike of happiness, but a system, that gives you sustainable, continuous progress. You start focusing on the journey itself, rather than just obsessing over the destination. Let's ground this in a really relatable, real-world example from the book. Meet Rohan and Amit. So Rohan is the dreamer. He has this massive goal. He wants to own a successful business in 5 years. But he spends all his time just wishing for it, staring at that distant dream and taking 0 actual steps. Then you have his friend Amit. Amit doesn't even have a strict 5-year goal. Actually, scratch that. He doesn't have a timeline at all. Amit is a system builder. His system is super simple. He reads business books for 1 hour every day, he learns financial planning, does some small freelance projects, and he networks. Because Amit focused on the daily actions instead of a distant dream, his system was so strong that he launched a profitable business in just 2 years. His daily process completely outpaced the big goal. Moving down the funnel to Section 2, the inner workings, focusing on the psychology of habits. So, how do we make a system actually stick when, let's face it, mere willpower completely fails us? Well, every single habit relies on a simple 3-step loop: the cue, the routine, and the reward. For example, if you want to start running every morning, an alarm clock just isn't enough. You have to change the cue. Try putting your running shoes right next to your alarm clock. That visual signal instantly triggers your brain. Then you do the routine, you go for the run, and the reward is that awesome post-run feeling of energy and accomplishment. When you structure your system around this specific loop, it eventually becomes totally automatic. Now, a massive part of making that loop automatic is managing your environment through what we call friction. Friction is basically just the level of difficulty in performing any given task. If you want to build a positive system, you absolutely must design your environment to make good decisions effortless. You want to drink more water? Reduce the friction. Literally, keep a full water bottle right on your desk. Want to stop mindlessly scrolling? Add friction to that bad habit. Delete the distracting apps right off your home screen or put your phone in grayscale mode. The trick here is that your environment should be doing the heavy lifting, not your willpower. But here is where the absolute deepest psychological change happens. It's the identity shift. Saying, I want to run a marathon, relies entirely on external motivation. But saying, I am a runner, that is a powerful, system-based identity shift. Nathan shares the story of Rajat, a guy who always identified as quote-unquote lazy, when he started repeating daily affirmations like, I value my time, and simply changed his environment by replacing his TV with a bookshelf. His internal self-talk changed. He shifted his entire identity from being lazy to being a highly productive person. Because, when your identity changes, your behaviors naturally follow suit. Okay, Section 3, the architecture, where we design your daily scaffold. We've reached the most practical core of the Explainer. Nathan refers to your daily architecture as a scaffold. Think about a massive skyscraper under construction. Before that building can stand tall on its own, it needs a really strong scaffolding to support it. Your daily routine needs to be that exact same kind of scaffold, robust, modular, and adaptable, to prevent the chaos of just reacting to whatever life throws at you. It literally gives you ultimate control over your time and energy. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can break this scaffold down into distinct, modular time blocks.
Take the morning block, for instance. Arbit used to wake up to total chaos, but he modularized his morning into meditation and reading, which gave him instant clarity. Then you have the work block. Shivani, who is a writer, structured 90-minute deep work sessions with zero distractions. That single change literally doubled her productivity. And you definitely can't forget the evening block. Rahul used to just crash in front of the TV, right? But he built an evening scaffold of gratitude journaling and a light walk, which drastically improved his sleep. Building your day in these modular blocks completely removes decision fatigue. You don't even have to think. You just follow your scaffold.
Which brings us to section 4, the fuel, focusing on the incredible power of micro wins. So you've built this amazing modular system. Awesome. But how do you actually sustain it for the long haul? The fuel for your system comes in the form of micro wins. A micro win is just a small, easily trackable daily victory. Let's say you want to write a book. If you focus on the 300 pages you have to write, you're going to paralyze yourself. It's too much. But if you track just 300 words a day and you physically check that box in a colorful habit log, your brain receives this fantastic spike of dopamine. That chemical release internalizes your motivation and builds this unshakable self-belief that you are in fact a writer. So the crucial point is that you absolutely must make your progress visible. Imagine you have a visual tracker for a goal to walk every single day for 30 days. Seeing that you are at exactly 50% completion, that provides incredible emotional fuel. Our brains process visual information so strongly. When you see a chart or a progress bar actively filling up, it creates an internal drive that actively prevents you from quitting halfway through. Visible systems truly become manageable systems. Now, to keep your system sharp, you also need a weekly reflection process. It's super simple. Just take 20 minutes every Sunday and ask yourself 3 things. What did I achieve? Where did I get stuck or face challenges? And what can I improve next week? But, and this is key, don't just log the cold, hard data. Log your emotional wins too. Write down things like, I felt incredibly proud of myself for hitting the gym 5 times this week. Tying that positive emotion directly to your reflection deeply embeds the habit into your core identity. And that perfectly brings us to the core philosophy that Nathan emphasizes throughout the whole book. Systems don't just build success, they build you. Every single micro win you track, every daily block you execute, every time you manipulate friction to your advantage, you aren't just checking off a to-do list. You are actively, fundamentally reshaping your identity, your character, and ultimately, your entire future. Let's move to our final thought and see how this builds into an immediate challenge for you today. What is your system? Seriously, look at your life right now. Are you just desperately surviving on the temporary motivation of distant, stressful goals? Or are you thriving because you have a daily scaffold doing the heavy lifting for you? Stop waiting for that elusive finish line. Take these concepts from our explainer today, reduce your friction, start tracking your micro wins right now, and design the system that will effortlessly build the person you actually want to become. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see the systems you build.